So watching the Premier League at the weekend, the City match got me thinking. The way City played against West Ham, can I replicate that in Football Manager? Let's give it a go! So I am a City fan, I watch every game, as you can see by that top there, that's an old school one that. Now way back at the start of Football Manager 22, I made a pep tactic using the false 9, there it is. Now the false 9 one was what he was using out of necessity for having no striker. That was the final one I came up with, you can see, we've got Foden there, Jesus, Grealish, a lot of these players are still there, but things have changed a little bit. Now, they have probably got the best striker in the world. Now City's setup yesterday looked pretty similar to this, a 4-3-3, that was their starting positions, that's the key point, the starting positions. So we know we can easily replicate 4-3-3 in Football Manager. If we've got presets, you've got Gegenpress style, you've got Tiki-Taka style with 4-3-3s, vertical Tiki-Taka, all sorts. But City's 4-3-3 isn't a normal 4-3-3. So what I've done, crew, is I've gone into the weeds of the West Ham game. I've analysed it, I've done some research, and I think I've got a tactic we can use in FM22, which is nearly identical to the way City played against West Ham. Sporting Lisbon, why are they there? Well, let me tell you why. I have started an offline save with Sporting Lisbon, and this is where the City tactic was born. So I started my save, building some tactics, trying to think of what I wanted to play. Then I thought, do you know what? Why don't I try the City one? I'm going to get into the detail of the tactic a little bit later on in the video, but there is the initial setup, like you can see. So the 4-3-3 is set up. That's the starting positions all laid out with City, and there's Sporting Lisbon. So you're going to have Porto and SJO as the inverted wing backs, two centre backs doing their job. Rodri will be Palhinha, are you keeping track here? Bracagna and Mateus Nunes will be Gundogan and De Bruyne. Goncalves will be Phil Foden. Cabral will be Grealish, and Paulinho gets the tough task of being Erling Haaland. So the team is set up like this. We'll get onto team instructions and play instructions later on, but there's very specific reasons why I chose them roles right there. You'll see a double Mazzala, you'll see your double advanced playmaker, double inverted wing backs, and surprisingly maybe you'll see Haaland will be the deep line forward.
Yeah, it's nothing much to say then.
And the reason for that is this. So what you're looking at here is the average positions that the City players took up in that game against West Ham. They absolutely dominated possession. So players were so advanced. If you look at that now, how would you describe that? I mean, two at the back. Rodri had a key role. And you've got Walker and Cancelo dropping into central positions as those inverted wing backs, basically making 4 in behind Haaland. Now Haaland, that's why I had him as a deep line forward. He wasn't super advanced. He quite often dropped back, then spinning and making that run. So that's the average positions they took up in the match. It's mind-boggling, and sometimes this is why you need to disregard formations to an extent, because there's so much flexibility, especially in the top teams. So the in-match positioning is why the roles are identified like they are in this 4-3-3. Double Mazzalas, advanced playmakers, inverted wing-backs, and the deep line forward. We're going to see how it sets up in the match now. We'll have a review of some stats first, and you can see from this game against Estoril that the passes completed is humongous. 934, so nearly 1,000 passes at 63% possession. And that's not just in the easy games either. You can see against Porto here, probably the best team in the Portuguese league. Same kind of story, 737 passes, 827 attempted, dominating display. But it's not all about results, this is all about replicating the way City play. So we'll go to analytical data and we'll go to teams, and this is where we're going to see the average positions of the players. So first up, we go down to this column here and we'll look at average possession with the ball, which is probably the most important, and we press that and bang, there you see it. Now that looks pretty damn similar to the way City played as well against West Ham. I mean, there you can see it. It's pretty good, isn't it? It's not far off. Let me put them side by side. I mean, yeah, when you look at that there, I am really happy with the way this is shaping up. That was a game against Porto, and Porto one of the better teams, so if we can play that way against Porto, this has got legs. In match footage, so Esajeo as Cancelo there, whips it across, and Pedro Goncalves in that Foden role, and we've seen Cancelo do that quite a lot of times. If I take it back here, when he picks the ball up, look where he picks it up, bang. So that's Cancelo. In our team, it's SJO, but that's the inverted wing back, remember. Inverted wing back 1, inverted wing back 2, And there's the holding midfielder. So they create somewhat of a free. And when he gets the ball, he's got the vision to play that ball over the top for Goncalves, breaking through. Next up, we've got a very Kevin De Bruyne style passing, getting into the gaps in between your fullback and centre back. So Porro here is representing the inverted wing back on the right, so your Kyle Walker role if you like. He plays the ball into Goncalves, Phil Foden, keeping track I hope guys. And he's going to play the ball now. Look, bang there. Nunes is playing in that Mazzala attack role like De Bruyne, so he's in this sort of corridor in here. Over here he's got his advanced playmaker. He's got a break in Brakanga, which is Ilkay Gundogan as the other Mazzala, and there's Erling Haaland, Paulinho as we play this on. Look at this for a De Bruyne style pass. So from there, what does he do? He's going to look to bend it around there. So as a Mazzala, he can get into these sort of areas and supply crosses, shots, all that jazz. And he has a look up and puts a very De Bruyne-esque ball in to Jovan, the opposite side winger, cutting in as an advanced playmaker to pop us in the lead. So the big bonuses are that it's starting to get results as well against bigger teams. So here we are against Juventus. You can see Jovan there in the advanced playmaker role on the left-hand side. Gets the ball, plays it inside to Brakanga, who is the slightly more withdrawn of the two Mazzalas. Now inside him, you can see there is SJO, which is my inverted wing-back on attack. He's always going to be a little bit more advanced than the other inverted wing-back because he's on support. So Walker is more of a defensive-minded player than Cancelo. When Cancelo receives the ball though, he does have the ability to play that through ball, and the striker here, who will be Haaland for City, will feed off these all day long, just like he did off De Bruyne. Lovely through ball and a cracking finish. Same game and another great goal, completely different style, but you will see the benefits of Mazzales and playmakers as we play this on. It's played to the playmaker on the left hand side, the Grealish role. He looks up, plays it into Haaland's feet, which was City were asking him to do quite a lot of yesterday, an area of his game he's going to have to improve. He lays it back across there to Nunes, who is the De Bruyne role. Now, yeah, Mazzala on attack, you'll look for him to supply quality crosses. And that's exactly what he does. Whips it across, and there's the striker, Paulinho, stroke Haaland, to pop it in. All of that resulted in a whopping 4-0 win against Juve in the Champions League. So the tactic has started superbly well. It's in Portugal. We are 5 out of 5. If we look at a bit more detail, you'll see we've only conceded the one goal, scoring 14. All this has led to the team performing really well. Passes completed, they're way ahead of everyone. The completion ratio is over 90%. Expected goals is handy. Also, chances created at 29. And remember, I'm not saying this is a game-breaking tactic, but for a top team, which is why I chose Sporting Lisbon, in a game you want to dominate, like City play, I thought this was the best type of team to choose. So you've seen the player roles, and they are all important. Now, I've got two inverted wing-backs. One is more attack-based. He's more attack, so he's going to do more higher up the pitch, like we saw in those clips. On his side, Mazzala's on support. Next to him is a Mazzala on attack. So I'm trying to replicate the De Bruyne role there. So he's got a little bit more creative freedom than this role, which is Gundogan, but they're still both very creative players. João Palhinha there as a deep line playmaker on support. He will spend a lot of the time in there, but he does step forward into that gap that these two do leave if he needs to. He's also backed up, obviously, by his two inverted wing backs, effectively forming a free in there. Your two advanced playmakers out here, you'll notice I've got get further forward and stay wider because they're going to be a lot closer to the striker, and they do spread the game quite a lot, City. They do want to pull opposition teams all over the pitch. So both of those two have the same team instructions, player instructions, sorry, for each advanced playmaker. And up front, I've got Haaland, the Paulinho role, as a deep line forward. You might not think of that as Haaland as soon as you think of him, but for the City game that I watched against West Ham, he was dropping quite a lot. Mostly because West Ham were defending so deep, he was trying to get involved in the game. This role, I think, will change. And do stay tuned in the video. There's a couple of different alternate versions of this that they may do, but this tactic is purely based on what I saw against West Ham. As we pop over to the team instructions, you can see I'm stretching the game as much as I can, extremely wide. That is what City do. And I focus and play down the left and right, because I want them to get the advanced playmakers in the game, combine them with the Mazzalas and the inverted wing backs. Shorter passing, City style, with that high crisp tempo, working the ball into the box. And even though Haaland's a big boy, they still predominantly do low crosses. Passing text preference, or dribbling less, and more expressive for those creative players. High pressing game from City as per, and when they get the ball they do counter, especially if Ederson gets the ball, therefore distribute quickly is selected. High defensive line with the 2 centre backs quite often stepping forward so the offside trap is on, triggering the press more often. Simple as that, higher and higher. And that is your City 22-23 replication from match day 1. Player instructions will be available at the end of the video. I'll go through each one.
Yeah.
I just made one alternate version. I'll show you right now. So this is the one I based the West Ham game on. And the next one is an alternate version where Haaland purely turns into a poacher, destroyer, waiting for the through balls. Everything's a little bit different. So Walker, I did notice he still was making those overlapping runs very rarely. So it depends what you think. Do you think he's an inverted wing back? Does he spend more time in there? Or is he a complete wing back where he does a little bit of both? That's up for debate. The other thing I changed in this was the pressing. It's just a much higher defensive line, so they are really pushing. So this is when City's struggling to break teams down, perhaps they'll just push a little bit higher up. The season's gone cracking. We won 10 in a row. As this league sits, we sit top of the table. We've only conceded 5 goals in the 10 matches. Scored 26. In the Champions League, also gone pretty good. Undefeated, top of the group. Should be going through that as well. One last change. Sometimes against a 4-4-2, I knock these two off just to give them a bit more flexibility in their approach play. Sometimes going down the middle.
Here comes the stinger.
And there we have it, crew. I think that's a pretty successful replication there. I enjoyed doing it and I might do a few more. So if you see a team that you fancy seeing this given the FM22 treatment to, let me know down in the comments and I'll catch you soon.